You know, one day, you wake up and realize something important. You've spent your life trying to please everyone, trying to avoid conflict, trying to be the nice guy. And somewhere along the way, you lost yourself. You gave too much. You tolerated too much. You accepted less than you deserved. My mentor once told me, "Jim, if you spend all your time trying to make everyone happy, you'll end up making yourself miserable." And he was right, because there comes a day when the world doesn't reward your niceness. The world rewards your standards, your boundaries, your backbone, not your weakness disguised as kindness. And I learned something. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. But discipline isn't just waking up early. Discipline isn't just reading books or setting goals. Discipline also means having the courage to say no, to walk away, to demand respect, to choose yourself. Kindness is a gift, but being a nice guy can become a cage. And today, we're going to talk about how to stop being trapped in that cage, how to stop giving your power away, how to stop living like you owe the world something, when the truth is, you owe yourself everything. So sit back, take a breath, and let's begin this journey. A journey from being too nice to becoming someone strong, grounded, and respected. Because the day you stop being the nice guy is the day people finally start taking you seriously. You know, people don't usually wake up one morning and say, "I think I'll spend my life being used, ignored, or taken for granted." No, it doesn't happen that way. It happens slowly, quietly, little by little. You say yes when you want to say no. You smile when you feel frustrated. You forgive when you should set a boundary. You shrink when you should stand tall. And you think you're doing the right thing. You think you're being good, being polite, being kind. But one day, you realize you've been living in a prison without bars, a prison built with your own hands. My mentor once told me, "Jim, the walls that keep you stuck are often the ones you build yourself." And I found that to be true, especially for the nice guy. Because a nice guy believes something dangerous. He believes that if he sacrifices himself, he will be rewarded. He believes if he avoids discomfort, life will go smoothly. He believes if he is generous, people will be generous back. But the world does not work that way. Nice guys don't finish last because they're kind. They finish last because they trade their self-respect for approval. Let me say that again. They trade their self-respect for approval. And that's a bad deal, a terrible deal, a deal that keeps you small, tired, and invisible. Now, you may say, "Jim, what's so wrong with being nice?" Nothing. Kindness is noble. Kindness is powerful. Kindness is a strength. But being a nice guy, that's different. A nice guy is not genuinely kind. He is afraid. Afraid of rejection. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of letting people down. Afraid of disappointing someone. His niceness isn't generosity. It's fear in disguise. And fear is a terrible master. Here's something I learned early. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Nice guys fall for everything. They fall for pity. They fall for guilt. They fall for manipulation. They fall for people who take advantage of them. Not because they're weak, but because they lack one thing: boundaries. A boundary is simply the line where your respect for others and your respect for yourself meet in balance. But the nice guy puts everyone ahead of himself, everyone's feelings, everyone's opinions, everyone's demands, and then wonders why nobody values him. Let me give you a simple truth. People value what you value. They respect what you respect. And if you don't respect yourself, nobody else will. Life teaches this lesson over and over. The nice guy works harder than everyone else, yet receives the least appreciation. Why? Because he trains people to expect more from him and give less in return. The nice guy listens to everyone's problems, but no one listens to his. Why? Because he never speaks up. The nice guy tries to be liked. But what does he get? Ignored, overlooked, taken advantage of. Why? Because he hasn't learned the balance between kindness and strength. Now here's the hidden prison, the part most don't see. The nice guy believes he is doing good, but deep down he feels resentment, frustration, exhaustion, a quiet anger. Because when you betray yourself long enough, you start to feel it. You start to ask, when is it my turn? When do I get appreciated? When will someone choose me the way I choose them? And the answer is simple, but difficult. They will choose you. When you choose yourself, they will respect you. When you respect yourself, they will value you. When you set the price of your value, because in life, you don't get what you want. You don't even get what you deserve. You get what you accept. You get what you allow. You get what you tolerate. I used to tell my audience, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. And the same applies here. If you don't like being overlooked, speak up. If you don't like being used, say no. If you don't like being drained, walk away. Change begins the moment you stop blaming others and start taking responsibility for what you allow. Nice guy syndrome is not a personality. It's a pattern, a habit, a learned behavior. And anything learned can be unlearned, rewritten, replaced. And that is the good news. Because breaking free from this hidden prison doesn't require magic. It doesn't require a miracle. It requires awareness. It requires courage. And it requires discipline. Discipline to speak with honesty. Discipline to act with clarity. Discipline to protect your time, your energy, your heart. Remember, success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's hard work and discipline. And the discipline of self-respect is one of the most important disciplines of all. So today, take your first step. Recognize the prison. See the bars you built and prepare to walk out of it, because the world doesn't need more nice guys. The world needs strong men with kind hearts. Men who aren't controlled by fear. Men who aren't ruled by approval. Men who know their worth. And in the next part, we'll talk about how to build that worth through the power of boundaries, because that is where freedom begins. You know, one of the greatest lessons I ever learned was this. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If you allow disrespect, you get more of it. If you allow people to take advantage of you, they will continue. If you allow yourself to be drained, you will stay drained. Life responds to your standards, not your wishes, not your hopes, not your intentions, your standards. And the foundation of standards is one simple word: no. The word most nice guys are afraid to say, afraid to use, afraid to own. But let me tell you something important. Saying no is not selfish. Saying no is not rude. Saying no is not unkind. Saying no is an act of respect. Respect for your time. Respect for your energy. Respect for your values. Respect for yourself. Now, the nice guy believes that saying yes to everyone will earn love, earn approval, earn connection. But here's the truth, and it's a truth many learn too late. When you say yes to everything, people stop appreciating your yes. When you make yourself available all the time, people start valuing your time less. When you tolerate too much, people respect you less. That is the paradox of life. The more you give without boundaries, the less people respect you. Because respect is not built through sacrifice. Respect is built through clarity. Let me repeat that. Respect is built through clarity. Clarity about what you accept. Clarity about what you reject. Clarity about what you stand for. Clarity about what you won't tolerate. And clarity begins the moment you learn to say no. My mentor used to tell me, Jim, a man who can't say no will live a life full of regret. I discovered he was right. Every regret I ever heard from people was tied to a moment when they said yes, when their heart knew they should have said no. They said yes to people who drained them. Yes to work they didn't believe in. Yes to relationships that weren't healthy. Yes to responsibilities that weren't theirs. Yes to expectations that trapped them. And every yes without alignment builds resentment, pain, bitterness, not because the world is cruel, but because boundaries were missing. Here's a rule worth remembering. A boundary is simply a limit that protects your value. It's not a wall. It's not aggression. It's not punishment. It is a fence around your garden, a line on your map, a clear signal that says, this is where my responsibility ends and yours begins. And once you understand that, you begin to realize something powerful. People who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. People who don't respect your boundaries don't care about you. Simple, clear, direct. The nice guy fears saying no because he fears loss. He fears people will leave. He fears conflict. He fears disappointing someone. But here is the irony. When you set boundaries, you don't lose people. You lose the wrong people. The people who were using you, the people who were draining you, the people who only loved your compliance, not your character. And when those people leave your life, your world becomes lighter, cleaner, healthier. Boundaries filter your environment. They protect your peace. They strengthen your inner core. Let me give you one of my favorite principles. You cannot pour from an empty cup, but you also cannot protect a full cup if you never learn to say no. Boundaries allow you to keep your cup full, your energy steady, your direction clear, because here's the truth. People respect strength, not weakness. People respect clarity, not confusion. People respect those who respect themselves. Saying no builds respect, because no communicates something powerful, that you are not for sale, not desperate, not controlled by approval. You stand for something, and people admire that. Let's talk about another point. A man without boundaries lives in reaction. A man with boundaries lives with intention. The nice guy reacts to everyone's emotions, everyone's needs, everyone's problems. But a man with boundaries chooses where to invest his time, where to invest his heart, where to invest his energy. That choice makes all the difference. Now, you might say, Jim, isn't it hard to set boundaries when people are used to the opposite? Yes, it is. The first time you say no, people will be surprised. The second time, they may be disappointed. The third time, they may try to guilt you. But stay firm, stay steady, stay consistent. Because once people see that your boundaries are not weaknesses, but commitments, they will adapt or they will leave. Either way, your life improves. Here's something else. Setting boundaries is not about becoming harsh. It's about becoming honest. Honest with yourself, honest with others. And honesty requires courage. Remember what I often said. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And boundaries? They are the discipline of the soul, the discipline of self-worth, the discipline of respect. If discipline builds your success, boundaries protect it. If discipline builds your character, boundaries reveal it. And when you combine both, discipline and boundaries, you become someone powerful, grounded, respected, not because you force it, but because you live it. So today, start small. Say no to one thing that drains you, one task, one request, one expectation. Feel the strength of that clarity. Feel the power of that decision. Because the moment you learn to say no, your yes becomes more valuable. Next, we'll talk about something equally important: how to reclaim your self-worth and stop apologizing for existing. Because that is the next step toward your transformation. You know, I've met many people in my life, leaders, thinkers, dreamers, doers, but I've also met people who walk through life as if they are apologizing for taking up space, apologizing for having an opinion, apologizing for wanting more, apologizing simply for being themselves. And one day, I realized this truth. A person who apologizes for their existence has forgotten their worth. The nice guy suffers from this more than most, not because he is weak, but because somewhere along the line, he learned that his value depends on pleasing others. He learned that avoiding conflict keeps the peace. He learned that being agreeable brings acceptance. He learned that staying small keeps everyone comfortable. And slowly, he shrinks. He quiets himself. He softens his voice. He dulls his edges, all to avoid upsetting someone. But here's the trouble. When you shrink to make others comfortable, you become uncomfortable in your own life. When you silence your truth, you lose your voice. When you minimize your needs, you forget they matter. When you put yourself last, you start believing that's where you belong. And that belief, my friend, is the beginning of self-neglect. My mentor once told me, Jim, life will pay whatever price you ask. But most people don't ask for much. And that struck me deeply. The nice guy asks for very little, not because he doesn't want more, but because he doesn't think he deserves it. He doesn't ask for respect. He hopes for it. He doesn't ask for love. He waits for it. He doesn't ask for better treatment. He tolerates what he gets. And when you tolerate neglect, you teach people to give you more of it. When you tolerate disrespect, you teach people to continue. When you tolerate being overlooked, you teach others that your presence doesn't matter. But here's the truth, a hard, necessary truth. You cannot be treated better than the standard you set for yourself. So the real work of reclaiming your self-worth begins inside. It begins by recognizing that you've been living as if your needs were an inconvenience, your voice a disruption, your dreams a burden. But nothing could be further from the truth. You have value, inherent value, value that is not earned by pleasing people, value that is not measured by approval, value that cannot be taken away unless you hand it over. And many nice guys do exactly that. They hand over their worth in exchange for acceptance. But acceptance built on self-abandonment is not real acceptance. It's dependency. It's fear. It's self-betrayal. Let me give you something important to remember. The most powerful relationship you will ever have is the relationship you have with yourself. If that relationship is weak, every other relationship will be weak. If that relationship is neglected, your life becomes neglected. If that relationship is built on apology, your identity becomes apologetic. And that is no way to live. So, how do you reclaim your self-worth? Let's start here. 1. Stop apologizing for things that don't require apology. Stop apologizing for saying no. Stop apologizing for being honest. Stop apologizing for having boundaries. Stop apologizing for being tired. Stop apologizing for having needs. Stop apologizing for simply existing. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to have standards. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to choose yourself. 2. Start telling the truth about what you want. Nice guys hide their desires. They say anything is fine, but anything is not fine. You know it. Your heart knows it. Speak your preferences. Speak your limits. Speak your truth with calm conviction. Because the moment you speak with clarity, you step out of the shadows. 3. Treat yourself with the dignity you expect from others. You want respect? Start acting like a man who respects himself. Take care of your body. Take care of your environment. Take care of your commitments. Self-worth is built through self-discipline. Self-respect is built through consistent action. 4. Stop settling. The moment you accept less than you deserve, your worth begins to decay. Raise your standards. Raise your expectations. Raise your belief in what you can achieve. As I used to say, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. And becoming better starts with believing you are worth better. 5. Walk away from anything that requires you to abandon yourself. If you have to hide who you are, that's not your place. If you have to ignore your needs, that's not your place. If you have to tolerate disrespect, that's not your place. Walking away is not losing. It is choosing. Choosing peace. choosing dignity, choosing self-worth, because nothing you lose by choosing yourself is a real loss. And here's something powerful. The day you stop apologizing for existing is the day people begin to notice your presence. Your voice becomes clearer. Your posture becomes stronger. Your energy becomes grounded. Your decisions become firm. Because you are living from your worth, not from your fear. And once you reclaim that worth, you become impossible to ignore. Next, we'll talk about how to take this newfound self-worth and transform it into something practical. Standards. Because self-worth gives you the courage, but standards give you the structure. And that structure is what turns respect into a way of life. You know, most people walk into life hoping for good treatment, hoping for respect, hoping for fairness, hoping that others will see their value and respond accordingly. But hope by itself is never enough. If you want respect, you must become a person who expects it. If you want value, you must become someone who commands it. And let me be clear, commanding value is not about intimidation. It's not about aggression. It's not about dominance. Commanding value is simply living your life with such clarity and consistency that people cannot help but treat you accordingly, because people don't respond to what you say you want. They respond to what you tolerate, to what you practice, to what you live. And that, my friend, is where standards come in. My mentor once told me, Jim, your life will rise to meet the standards you set, but it will fall to match the standards you ignore. Let that sink in. Every area of your life, your relationships, your work, your health, your finances, is a reflection of your standards, not your dreams, not your intentions, not your wishes, your standards. Now, what is a standard? A standard is a clear, non-negotiable rule about how you live your life. It says, this is who I am. This is what I allow. This is what I don't accept. This is the level I hold myself to. Without standards, a man drifts. He bends. He compromises. He becomes whatever the world shapes him into. But with standards, a man stands firm. He becomes grounded, unshakable, predictable, in the best possible way. Let's break this down. 1. Standards begin with how you treat yourself. Before you can command value from others, you must first value yourself. Do you keep your promises to yourself? Do you maintain discipline? Do you take care of your health? Do you honor your time? Do you follow through on your commitments? Because if you don't respect your own rules, why would anyone else? You can't expect others to treat you better than you treat yourself. 2. Standards show up in small, daily decisions. A man's life is shaped not by grand gestures, but by tiny habits. The habits you accept create the life you live. If you accept chaos, your life becomes chaotic. If you accept lateness, your life becomes rushed. If you accept excuses, your goals fall apart. And here's the truth. Every low standard you tolerate chips away at your self-worth. Every high standard you commit to strengthens your confidence. As I often said, success is something you attract by the person you become. And becoming that person requires standards. 3. A man with standards communicates clearly. Nice guys hint. They suggest. They hope. But a man of standards speaks clearly, calmly, confidently. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't beg. He doesn't over-explain. He simply states the truth. This works for me. This doesn't. This is okay. This is not. This is what I expect. This is what I will not tolerate. Clarity is not cruelty. It is leadership. It is self-respect. 4. Standards don't require force, only consistency. Let me tell you something important. You never need to force respect. You simply need to enforce your standards. People test boundaries. People test patience. People test limits. That is human nature. But when you respond consistently, calmly, without emotion, people adjust. Why? Because consistency is power. Consistency communicates seriousness. Consistency builds reputation. A man who enforces his standards calmly commands more respect than a man who demands respect loudly. Remember, you don't get respect by asking for it. You get respect by living in a way that makes disrespect impossible. 5. Standards protect your energy and guide your life. Imagine your life as a river. Without banks, the river loses direction. It spills everywhere. It floods. It becomes uncontrollable. But with strong banks on both sides, the river flows forward with power and purpose. Your standards are the banks of your life. They give structure. They give direction. They give strength. And the more solid your standards, the more powerful your life becomes. 6. Standards attract the right people. You know, something interesting happens when you raise your standards. Some people leave. They were never meant to stay. Others complain. They were benefiting from your absence of standards. But then, new people arrive. People who respect your clarity. People who admire your confidence. People who appreciate your strength. Because people with strong standards naturally gravitate toward others with the same. You stop attracting chaos and begin attracting alignment. 7. Standards are a promise to yourself. A promise that says, I will no longer live below my potential. I will no longer accept disrespect. I will no longer abandon myself. I will no longer hide who I am. Standards are how you protect the self-worth you reclaimed. Think of it like this. Boundaries protect your energy. Standards protect your identity. Together, they create your dignity. And a man with dignity does not force value. He naturally commands it because his life speaks for him. His actions speak for him. His presence speaks for him. And that presence changes everything. Next, we're going to bring it all together. The boundaries you set, the worth you reclaimed, the standards you strengthened, and we'll discuss how to transform from a people pleaser into a grounded, respected, self-made leader. A leader who no longer chases validation, but attracts respect. You know, transformation never happens in one moment. It happens in a series of small, deliberate shifts. Shifts in how you think, how you speak, how you act, and ultimately, how you see yourself. And becoming a leader, a real leader, does not begin with leading others. It begins with leading yourself. The nice guy tries to lead the world by being agreeable, by being pleasant, by avoiding disappointment. He thinks leadership comes through approval, but approval is a trap, a silent trap. The more you chase it, the further it moves away. Leadership doesn't come from being liked. Leadership doesn't come from being available to everyone. Leadership doesn't come from saying yes when your heart is screaming no. Leadership begins the day you decide, I will no longer betray myself to keep the peace. My mentor once told me, Jim, when you change, everything will change for you. And that's exactly what happens when a people pleaser begins his transformation, because the moment you change, your world follows. Let's walk through this transformation together, step by step, so you can see how a nice guy turns into a grounded, confident, self-made leader. 1. The transformation begins when you stop negotiating your self-worth. A leader knows what he's worth, not because someone told him, but because he decided it. The nice guy asks, do you think I'm good enough? The leader states, I know who I am. Self-worth is not a request. It's a declaration, a quiet, consistent declaration you make every day through your actions, your habits, your boundaries, your standards. Once you stop negotiating your worth, people stop questioning it. 2. You shift from approval seeking to purpose seeking. The people pleaser wakes up thinking, I hope everyone is happy with me today. But a leader wakes up thinking, what meaningful thing can I accomplish today? Approval leads to exhaustion. Purpose leads to fulfillment. And when your life becomes driven by purpose, you stop bending for temporary acceptance. You stop chasing validation. You stop shaping yourself into what others want you to be. You become a man with direction, and direction is magnetic. People don't follow the agreeable. They follow the purposeful. 3. You begin speaking with clarity, not fear. Nice guys speak softly, indirectly, cautiously. Always careful not to offend, never willing to disappoint. But leaders speak with clarity, not loud, not forceful. Just clear. This is what I need. This is what I expect. This is what I will accept. This is where I'm going. Clarity is leadership. Clarity is confidence. Clarity is power. As I've said before, when the promise is clear, the price gets easy. A man who knows where he stands never feels lost in his relationships. 4. You practice discipline every day quietly. There's something every leader understands. Discipline creates respect, not from others, from yourself. When you discipline your habits, you discipline your character. When you discipline your time, you discipline your destiny. The people pleaser waits for motivation. The leader relies on discipline. He does what he said he would do, even when he doesn't feel like it. And that consistency creates an internal strength that cannot be manipulated, because the man who governs himself cannot be governed by others. 5. You stop choosing comfort and start choosing growth. People-pleasing is always rooted in comfort. Comfort avoids conflict. Comfort avoids honesty. Comfort avoids change. But leadership requires discomfort. The discomfort of telling the truth. The discomfort of enforcing standards. The discomfort of walking away when something violates your dignity. Growth begins the moment comfort ends. As I've always said, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. That wish, that desire to be better, is the seed of transformation. 6. You no longer fear losing people. You fear losing yourself. The nice guy's biggest fear is losing approval, but the leader's biggest fear is losing integrity. He understands something vital. Anyone you lose by being honest, by being respectful, by being yourself, was never really with you. When you make peace with that truth, you stop clinging. You stop begging. You stop adjusting your character to keep temporary company. You become whole. Whole men do not chase. Whole men attract. 7. You begin to inspire others without trying. This is the final stage of transformation. When you stop pleasing people and start becoming yourself, something remarkable happens. People begin to admire you. They begin to respect you. They begin to rely on your presence. Not because you are trying to impress them, but because you live with integrity. A leader doesn't inspire through effort. He inspires through example. His habits inspire. His standards inspire. His discipline inspires. His calm inspires. His clarity inspires. People look at his life and think, I want to live like that. And that is true leadership. The transformation is simple, but not easy. It requires honesty. It requires courage. It requires discipline. It requires a decision that says, I refuse to live a life where I abandon myself to please others. I choose to live with purpose, with respect, with strength. I choose to lead myself first. And by leading myself, I become a leader of others. This transformation is not loud, not dramatic, not sudden. It is calm, quiet, steady, intentional. And when it is done, you will no longer be the man who waits for permission. You will be the man who builds his own life, a self-made leader. Because the day you stop being a people pleaser is the day you finally become the person you were meant to be. You've taken the first step by listening, by reflecting, by realizing that being a nice guy doesn't have to define your life. Remember this, kindness is a gift, But self-respect is your foundation. Boundaries protect it. Standards grow it. And discipline transforms it. The journey from people pleaser to self-made leader doesn't happen overnight. It happens one choice at a time. Choose yourself. Choose clarity. Choose strength. And watch the world respond to the man you've become. Your life is your responsibility. Your destiny is your decision. And the day you stop apologizing for existing is the day you finally step into your true power. So start today. Start now. And lead your life with courage, integrity, and purpose. Success is predictable. It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's the choices you make and the man you decide to become.